Hello, hello, and welcome to a new episode of Ramblings from Two Meddling Kids. I'm Edward Hunt, joined by my co-host,
Mike Cunningham.
and we are the Meddling Kids. And today we'll be reviewing Transformers: The Rise of the Beasts. Ooh. The latest Transformers. So for those of you joining us for the first time, what we like to do is review movies. And we will never spoil the movie in the first 5 to 15 minutes of our podcast. What we'll do is we'll give a spoiler-free review. We'll give a whatchamacallit. I'm sorry. Background. Yeah, background. Thank you. It's like I've never done this before. And then do the background, and then we'll give you a play-by-play of the movie. So again, won't spoil anything yet. The idea is check out the review. Then if you decide you want to see it, just give us a pause, go check out the movie, and then come back and make sure you listen, or just listen all the way through. Up to you. But spoiler-free review. Mike, what did you give Transformers: Rise of the Beasts?
So I'm gonna give it a 3,
Okay.
like right in the middle. It might be a 2.5, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was very excited about this one. So I haven't given a fuck about the Transformers movie for a while.
Yeah.
Just because they get very formulaic, they get very I don't know, just it's Michael Bay, so he focuses on the action, not so much in this the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I had a lot of hope for this one because of the fact that it was like I keep telling people we've talked about it, that it was like I didn't know the Transformers. I knew the Maximals, the Beast. I can't remember the name of the actual show.
Beast Wars.
I think it was Beast Boys, right? Something like that. It was like so. This is my introduction to the Transformers world was the Beast Wars. It was just like I was so excited to see them. At the end of the day, when it comes to your Transformers, Godzilla versus King Kong, I just want to see kaiju fight. Like that's
Big things going at it.
big things smash big things, gang gang. Like that's all I want to see. So it's just like it looked like it was a very small human cast, which great for a movie like this. I just want to see the war on Cybertron, but when it comes to Transformers type shit. So that's I had high expectations as as the trailers went on and stuff like that. It looked like they were focusing on the Transformers, the Maximals and stuff like that. So I was super excited. And then I saw it, and it was like once again the human cast was light, but they did their thing. It was like, is it Joss Whedon? I feel like he was a guy that was just he's very much on what's happening with the humans in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw that with I think Suicide Squad. That's when I heard that quote. But it was just I think it was a tad disappointing in a way. I think they tried to tie it to human interactions with fucking aliens. Who gives a
Yeah.
I'm trying not to curse. But it was who gives a damn about what's happening with human beings between this fight between alien factions. I think the CGI was cool. Whenever Transformers were on screen, I was in.
Yeah.
I was engaged. But I think once they had to add the whatever was happening with the two main characters, I was just I don't really care. If I'm being honest, I do not care at all. I think the voice acting because we'll go through it when we get to the background, but Pete Davidson was the voice for Mirage.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that took away too. It was it was very much, it seemed it gave the idea of a coming of age film in a way where it was just it's your teenager breaking the norms of tradition type of thing. So that's what Mirage was to me in a way. I didn't enjoy that. But yeah, so I think for a Transformers film, it rates high, right? So the original Transformers film was number 1. Bumblebee was really dope, and I think this one, what might be my number 3, number 2.
Okay.
But yeah, I give it a 3. I was a little bit disappointed when I finally did get to actually see it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.5 myself. It wasn't bad, but I was kind of meh. I agree completely with. I wanted to see more Transformer fights. I wanted to see more kaiju battling, and even some of the fights I was kind of underwhelmed with for the Transformers. And I was like, okay. Then the human characters, cool. We're accepting that they're here. They're having some growth, but I don't think there wasn't, because it's hard. You're like, how are you balancing, the growth of the Transformers, the growth of the humans, while not making this movie take 4 hours to go? But some of it felt like a little light to me for the characters. I agree. I didn't really care about them that much. I was like, okay, cool, they're here. They do character stuff. What also took me out was the timeline. I've literally seen Transformers, I think Revenge of the Fallen, and this one. So I am
The
not a
one, two, and then
yeah,
fucking seven.
1, 2, and 7 or whatever the hell it was. Yeah, so I've missed a lot. But I think because I missed a lot too, though, I was able to like go through a little. Like there were times where I'm like, oh, they're doing a callback to like stuff with Bumblebee and other things, and I'm like, since
It
I
is,
haven't
yeah.
watched all the movies, I don't care about these like the certain characters as much outside of this movie. So you're expecting me to just like that character solely because he was in like all the other
Yeah.
movies a lot. But I'm
I
like,
think that was something that was annoying too. I mean, but it's with all prequels.
hmm
I'm just gonna put this across the board.
yeah,
Prequels are annoying because of the fact that I know you exist in a future film,
hmm
so
hmm
putting you in peril means nothing to me.
yeah, like it's
Like
not.
at the end of the day, I don't like smooth give a fuck. Like I know you exist in a future timeline.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, like he might die. No, he won't,
No, he
dumbass.
won't.
Like,
We've seen him. Yeah, we've seen him. We
'cause
know it's
it doesn't make sense to me. I guess it on a scale, if you're trying to put this movie in a silo, fine. But this
hmm
movie isn't in a silo. It's in a franchise. It's in a fucking like it's one of type of thing. So it's just like there's no way for you to actually put somebody in suspense
Yeah.
because of the fact that I know that this character is going to live to see another day, type
hmm
of thing. So it was like in my mind, it was like, what's the point? But I mean, I get it in a writer standpoint.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, and there were parts, but yeah, I wanted a little bit more of the Transformers fighting. I felt the story was a little light at times. But yeah. But it wasn't bad. It was just like, okay, it's a movie. It wasn't.
Like I said, I think honestly, but this outside of the first one,
hmm
I think every time you bring humans into the Transformer story,
hmm
it takes away.
Yeah.
Like every single time. Because it's
Yeah.
like who truly cares? Because what is the human? I think they did it okay with this one a bit,
Mhm.
but it was just like when they said we got to go do this, and the human says I'm coming.
Yeah.
In the movie theater, I yelled for what?
For what?
Like
No, we don't need you, bro.
loud as hell. And granted, it was only like 15 of us in there, but it was just like I literally yelled for what?
hmm
What we doing?
Yeah.
Like when his brother tried to come, I said, "Really? That's what we got." I'm not. First of all, you gonna bring a catheter too, my G? Like what we?
Yeah. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Yeah. No. Yeah. So
But sorry, go.
no, I agree, and like, yeah, with that, because you can have character development and growth with the Transformers. Because I guess the worry is, oh, well, like humans can't relate to the Transformers, so like, will people pay attention? But like, people watch cartoons with like anthropomorphic animals and like relate to the
Mhm.
anthropomorphic animals. We could have a movie just with the Transformers and enjoy it. Like we don't need.
I think that's the issue. I think now is just like for some reason this
Mhm.
audience. I'm talking about the modern audience. It was just
Yeah.
like they need to see themselves one to one in
hmm
order to truly see them, like to be relatable. But it was like, bro, these stories are universal, right?
hmm
Everybody feels like they're not good enough, or like I can understand like the main character Noah's burden of being an older brother and like putting the weight of like trying to support a family and trying to figure out what like my purpose in this world. Like I can understand that. I don't need to be him like literally exactly. Like I don't need to be Hispanic. I don't need to be from his era or no shit like that. I can
Yeah.
understand that story. But I think the problem is in modern day writing, people assume that you need to see yourself one to one, like literally
Mhm.
whenever your identity is and all that shit. Was like I need to see myself as that before I can connect to this character, and I was like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, you don't need that. Yeah.
It's annoying as shit because like I said, it was like I could understand that the burden of literally trying to shield your brother from his little brother was sick. And I was obviously we'll get into it, but it was just like I can understand trying to shield like your younger siblings from what the actual world is because of the fact that I don't want children to deal with that burden. I've
Yeah.
done that before. I don't need to truly be in his shoes to understand it, but I think for some reason modern day writers think that unless you can like fully experience that whatever the character is going through, you won't understand this. And I was like, that's
Yeah.
That was never the case at all. Like it's so annoying because the
Yeah.
fact that it limits you as a writer, it limits you as a fucking audience.
Yeah, for sure. Because then you just, yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I give it 2.5. Mike gives a 3 out of 5.
Honestly, I'm leaning towards 2.5 as well. I was
Okay.
giving it a 3 because of the fact that I really anytime that the Maximals Transformers were on screen and they were doing
Mhm.
that thing, I enjoyed, but it was just like the humans really brought it down for me.
Yeah. Fair.
Because
Yeah. So,
I don't need an emotional speech on some fucking miracle
yeah,
from a
a
human
missile
being.
launcher. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Our fast, buddy.
So 2.5. So I would say, from a spectacle standpoint, seeing it in theaters could still be worth it because it is a big, it's a good movie with great CGI. So getting it on the big screen wouldn't be a bad thing by any means. But if you're looking from like trying to get a good story and everything else, you don't necessarily need to see it in theaters. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it ranks high in the Transformers canon,
Hmm.
right? But there have been, like I said, I think Transformers the original, 2007, 2006, I can't remember which one, Bumblebee, and then this one.
Yeah.
So it's still behind two other Transformers movies.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
no, it was fine.
Yeah. So, still not spoiling anything yet. We want to get into a little bit of background on this movie. Like, what was the budget, ranking, ratings, etc. so far? What are we thinking, Mike? What do we hear?
All right, so Transformers: Rise of the Beast came out June 9th, 2023. Quick shout out, my mom and my brother's birthday is June 9th.
Sure.
So I want to shout them out. Runtime was 1 hour and 57 minutes. Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we watched a lot of movies for this. It was just like I don't understand. It was like either my attention span is short, so I may, delayed ADHD, or movies just be too long. Like I can never tell. Because this one, it was just like you see me in the movie, I'm just like, let's go. What we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
The darn TikToks and Instagram
and it
Reels.
was just like I don't know if it's just my attention span or just like you didn't earn this 2 hours type of thing. Super curious when Oppenheimer comes out.
Yeah, how
Um,
that's gonna go. Yeah.
but all right, so the budget was about 200 mil, which
Okay.
and the box office right now, I'm looking at it just because of the fact that it is Sunday. I mean, I wait till Sunday evening, but it looks like it had a first week box office of 170 million,
Okay.
uh, which isn't bad. I think it probably beat out what. I mean, it was going up against Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and if you want to, fucking what is it, Little Mermaid and Fast X. So I mean, it had a bit of a competition. Now this is just this time of year with the box office. Rotten Tomatoes is very interesting, but it also makes sense. 52 critic score, 91 audience score. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
it makes sense to me too. It's just like one of those things where like I don't think once you get into it, not that great of a movie, but for the fans of Transformers, like the cartoon or stuff like that, it was nice to see them introduced in this universe, and then especially with the post credits and what they were
Yeah.
trying to introduce. I'm curious to see how that goes, honestly.
Which one? Oh, yeah, right. I
The
agree.
post credit, but like I
Yeah.
said, we won't get into it now. But it was like I'm curious to see how that goes because not worth it, my G. But anyway,
And that makes sense for me on like the reception too, because again, like it's a blockbuster movie, right? It's supposed to be like kind of turn your brain off, have some action, have some peril, and just kind of keep it moving and be entertained. And it's not like not entertaining, though. Honestly, I do think there are more entertaining big, kaiju like movies, but still, it
yeah.
wasn't like, bad. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's cool. I'm watching this. I'm not bored. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there's not too many other things. I guess. Well, there's a few things I'd rather do.
No,
But
no,
anyway.
literally, that's so much more you could watch. So it's like
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I
It's
was
like,
curious to see if this one would beat out Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse second week.
hmm
So I mean, but I assumed it would.
Yeah.
Anyway, director is Steven, is it Caple Jr., who actually was the director of Creed 2, which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
So it was like you kind of see his vision, and there's
Yeah.
something called The Land. I assume it was something to do with Cleveland.
hmm
I feel like MGK was in that movie or something like that, but I didn't watch it, so I'm not gonna talk too deep into it. But anyway, this movie stars Anthony Ramos as Noah. Anthony Ramos is famous for I think Into the Heights,
Okay.
and something else. God damn it! I think he was in Lemonwell. It's Hamilton. Pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay. Yeah.
Dominique Fishback as Elena. She was in The Swarm. That was Donald Glover this year on Amazon Prime, and then I feel like most people didn't see Project Power, which is very interesting too.
Okay, yeah, I've not seen
You
that.
check. You guys should check that out. That one
Okay.
out on Netflix. Peter Dinklage as Scourge. Holy shit!
Yeah.
God damn it! I wrote this down months ago.
There's a
Such a surprise.
trailer. Peter fucking
Um,
Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage as Scourge. That was the big. Sorry, one of the sub
Hmm.
antagonists. Peter Cullen reprises his role as Optimus Prime. Pete Davidson as Mirage, and I'll talk about that later. I did not like it. Michelle Yeoh as Air Razor. MJ Rodriguez, she's from God damn it, there's a show on Netflix. Pose.
Okay.
She's from Pose. She was Nightbird. John DiMaggio as Stratos. That's you know him from like The Simpsons.
Okay. Yeah, I like the name.
And he's a big voice actor, yeah. And then Coleman Domingo as Unicron.
Okay.
I think he's from Euphoria, and then he was in the Candyman remake
Oh,
that came
okay.
out a couple years ago.
And you mentioned
And then,
Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal. Or sorry if you were getting to that.
oh yeah, no, I skipped over it like an idiot. So
All
thank
right.
you. So, yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, Perlman as Optimus Primal, which is why I
yeah.
love. I like
I
Ron
didn't
Perlman.
hear it honestly. It
Yeah.
was one of those things where, like I was trying to recognize voices, so like I could hear Michelle Yeoh,
Yeah.
and obviously Pete Davidson, but I couldn't hear Ron Perlman. I guess that's the mark of a good voice actor.
I was with like, what, a voice actor who you don't know
Because it
immediately
was like, oh,
just changes your voice? Yeah.
since we just did Little Mermaid, and you could tell like Aquafina, like or
Hmm.
like before that, what was it? Oh, fucking the Mario movie with
Chris Pratt.
Seth Rogen.
Oh, Seth Rogen. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, that's something with like I like a voice actor. If you have a famous person who is the voice of something and they're just doing it in their normal voice, it's because you're just trying to bank on them being a famous
yeah,
actor,
yeah.
not they're good at the craft. Like versus like yeah, like actual good voice actors, you shouldn't necessarily know who they are, but like you know
Right.
they can still have like the iconic voice. But anyway, yeah.
I think that was the beauty of like Fergie did a bunch of Charlie Brown stuff before she
Hmm.
got big. What's her name from Regina King as Riley. She did both Riley and Huey from the Boondocks. And like
Okay.
you
Yeah.
would never
Yeah.
two boy characters, but it was like that. Like get somebody that can do voices. Like Keegan
Mhm.
Michael Key has been doing a bunch of voice acting stuff,
Yeah.
and
He's
when
crazy when he does the
when
voices.
he
Yeah.
doesn't throw his voice, you can like he's like do it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like you said, I think you're right. It's like there's so much, so many movies. I think it was like Trolls, Ugly
Hmm.
Dolls, the Emoji Movie, and stuff like that. Where they just get big names to do these voices. I think Katy Perry did the Smurfs and stuff like that. But it was just like
Hmm.
you get big names, but it was like, can they actually voice act?
Yeah.
And I think what's crazy is the fact that it was like with voice acting and comedy,
Hmm.
people assume that it's so easy,
Yeah.
right? But like it is not
No,
at
not
all.
really. Especially
And- but it was like your name does not bring bring the audience. It was like your actual performance. So it was just like there's so many people that assume they can tell a joke. No, you can't.
yeah. Well, it's not there's too, especially if you're telling a joke and you just all you can do is rely on your voice. Like you're not because there's jokes. There can be like a physicality with telling a joke, right? But like no, for voice actors, you're like yes, there's an animation going on too, but the voice actor, it's all your voice. There's
It's
no other.
delivery, yeah.
You got to deliver it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last thing I have here is a tagline: "Unite or fall."
Unite or fall. Well, it's what you got to do.
I
Apparently.
think they leaned into that later in
Yeah.
sci-fi.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right. So before we get into our play-by-play of the movie, a quick word or just a plug for really just me and Mike. But I have a comic going on Kickstarter. It's called "Evil is a Weapon: Chainsaw Wars." Right now on Kickstarter, it'll be by the time you hear this on Monday, the campaign ends on this upcoming Thursday, the 15th. We're a little over 80% complete with it, going into the last couple days. Would love for you to check it out. It's kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead meets Highlander with what's going on. So Journey for Revenge, super pumped for it. I have a phenomenal artist working on it. We also have a new letterer who has done a great job with cleaning up everything too. So can't wait for you all to check it out. Mike, we want to talk about Push.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing this month is for men's mental health. It's Push for Better. So I have elected to do 1,500 push-ups by June 23rd. But yeah, it's just for obviously mental health has been a big push for these past maybe 5 or 6 years, and men's mental health, even more important since like there's so many men that are kind of blocked in how they express themselves. So it's something that is important to me. It's not it's not that deep, but yeah. So yeah, we'll put it in the links and stuff like that. But if you want to donate, or even if you want to join, I'll put the links in the description and stuff like that. But yeah, so we're doing that this month.
Beautiful.
Awesome. To try to support.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and yeah, that's a huge cause. I'm a very strong supporter of mental health and men's mental health as well. So it's very important that you're taking care of yourself mentally as well as physically in every way in your life. So it's a really great cause. But now we will start getting into some of our spoilers as we give a play-by-play of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Where do we start? What's going on in this movie?
That's all you talking. You talking to me? Yeah, so we open up. It's a clip of space. So you see the different stars. Optimus Primal is giving narration about Unicron and how like for the people, like sorry, not people. I guess they're not people, but the entities that are cybernetic creatures. They saw Unicron as a myth. As, a boogeyman in their world. But it was like Unicron was a planet eater and stuff like that. And it was like they didn't believe it until they actually experienced him. So it was like Unicron is this entity, planet eater, and stuff like that. And he's looking for the transwarp key, right? So he wants to. He's already super powerful, but he's only super powerful in this world with the transwarp key.
Yeah, you can't get to other places without it.
Yeah, it was like with the transwarp key, he can like hop universes and stuff like that. And so he's arrived on the planet of the Maximals, which are Transformers that have their bases, are animals. So you have the gorilla, you have the hawk, cheetah, and the rhino or whatever. So like. Unicron and his legion have tracked the transwarp key to this planet. He sends down his emissaries to find the key, and his army is led by Scourge and a bunch of like. I was so ashamed because I spelled it wrong in my notes, and I was just like, "Do you not know how to spell? You stupid kid." There's too many O's. Like
Scourge. Yeah.
Exactly. Capital C, lowercase. But yeah, so Unicron finds the transwarp key. It is on the Maximals planet. He sends down his army to, retrieve it. And so we get introduced to Scourge and the Maximals and their leader. And
there was like the original Maximal, like the original.
Yeah. So it's like the original Maximal Prime, basically sacrifices himself. So he gives the key to his second in command. Because they're once again they're. I think what's interesting too is to see, a people. That's not what I'm looking for, but it was just like all is war, right? So it's just like they're like I'll die for this, yada yada yada, type shit like that. But it was just like they were literally down to die for the cause, I think. But it was like their leader was like, I will hold them off because at the end of the day, this Unicron cannot get this key.
Yeah.
So he sacrifices himself. He fights them off so that they can escape to run with the key.
He does a terrible job fighting them off, I would say. He just gets...
Honestly, that was super upsetting, the fact that like all he had to do was a smooth rope a dope.
Yeah, it's something. Because it starts with like, you see this guy. Yeah.
I don't often fight robots, but I can fight longer than that.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Because like you see it and you're just like, yo, like he's going through, he's running, and then Optimus Prime saves his life from a scorpion in the first place. And then he's
first of all, he got shot down. Number one.
Right? Like for being like the leader and being like, I'll hold him back, dude, he got fucked up the entire time, and then Scourge just fucks him up immediately. Like there's like
Yeah.
no seconds at all, and I'm like, all right, like thanks for not doing nothing. But it
But
was like
anyway, yeah.
a
So
30-second.
the leader of the Maximals gives the transwarp key to his second in command, who is Optimus Primal, and tell the rest of Optimus Primal and the rest of the team to escape the planet, so that Unicron doesn't get the key. Because if Unicron gets the key, he can eat literally the rest of any universe he wants.
Yeah.
So it's just like our oath is our bond or something like that, they said. But it was like basically they'll die to make sure that Unicron doesn't get the key. So yeah, the leader of the Maximals fights off Scourge for a smooth 35
5 seconds.
millimeters per second. Like it wasn't even that damn long.
Well, yeah.
Smooth
Because
after
almost
the
fully
test.
after the chest. I'm like, okay.
But the Maximals escape and they land on Earth. We don't know what time, but it's literally like centuries before modern time. So they land on Earth, and Scourge is tasked from Unicron to find the transwarp key so that he can, control the universe.
Yeah.
And it was honestly, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say from in that scene too, something that was cool was Unicron Unicron?
Unicron.
Sorry, yeah, Unicron. Optimus Unicron. So it was Unicron eating the planet. That was pretty cool. With him actually like
Like I said, I think even it sucked that the fight didn't go longer between the leader and Scourge, but it was just like it was still dope to see.
it was, yeah. The effects were great. The CGI is great. You're like, that's brutal. Especially, and since something I like with Transformers is since it is a Transformers movie and they're technically robots, it's okay to just see this robot just get fucked up. Of like shoulder, just huge gaping hole in your chest.
I think, but that's also what takes away from it. It was like Homeboy got shot, and I assume initially it was like, oh, he's done.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was like, no, I'll hold them off. It was like, hold off what, son? Because if I get shot in the fucking duodenum, and it's not a doctor.
How are you gonna do this? Whatever.
But no, yeah, the fight scene. Like I said, anytime the Transformers were on screen doing something, like whether it was fighting or all that stuff, it was amazing.
It was pretty cool. Yeah,
It was like I think the humans really brought this movie down. But yeah, so the Maximals retreat from their planet. It gets eaten by Unicron, and then we jump to 1994. And I was like, I think what's nice is the fact that we just did Spider-Man Across the Universe, which had a really dope soundtrack. I want to check this soundtrack out too, because it was like, since it's based in the 90s, there's a lot of like Wu-Tang and like hip hop. Hip hop, which goes against like the norm and stuff like that, which they were the Transformers were trying to do. So I was like, I'm really curious. So like we get introduced to Noah and his family. His brother is very sick. His mom, I assume she's a nurse of some sort, but it was like she's hardworking, and it was just like Noah he has to get his brother to the hospital. He has to go on his a job interview. He's a former soldier that got discharged because he wasn't a team player, and I feel like they pushed that up front. That we just talked about Chekhov's gun, but I feel like they didn't do it well with this one.
No, not as well, man. Yeah,
but yeah, so. Yeah, you get introduced to his family. His brother's sick.
Has
his
sickle
mom
cell.
is, his mom is overworked, and he's trying to make sure that they have, money to pay for his brother's treatments and stuff like that. So like, he's you get introduced. He was like an electrician in the Navy. So like he was like working on this like cable box or something like that.
Yeah, he figured out a way to get free cable through the cable box. So he's a tech guy. Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, he's a tech guy. And so like we get introduced to him through that. Sorry, I've been drinking. So he takes his brother to the hospital, but before they can get treated, they get met with the lady from the hospital. It's like, you need to pay off his debts before he can come here.
Yeah.
I guess commentary on the healthcare system. I wouldn't know. But then he goes to his job interview because he's dressed in a suit. And the guy who was supposed to interview him had canceled the interview because of like he talked to his commanding officers. So that's when we learned that he was a ex-military guy, I think, in the army.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was he just wasn't a team player. Like he
Yeah.
was like, I
Didn't
can't trust. And it was
reciprocate.
just a security job, which was interesting. But it was like I can't trust you because of whatever I've built. I need whoever I bring on. I need them to understand this and stuff like that.
Yeah, which
Um,
honestly I kind of get. Yeah, like you look at it, you're like, yeah, that's all you have to go.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Like you
I
see this,
yeah,
yeah, but yeah,
I get that too. So it's just like yeah. So he's struck out twice
yeah.
today, right? He couldn't get his brother to see the doctor. He couldn't get the job interview because of his past.
Hmm.
And so we had met a character earlier who we gave the cable box to that he kind of jailbroke.
Hmm.
And he's like, I need money. I need, so I guess I'll do this illegal job with you.
Yeah, which seems potentially illegal. We'll see.
So you know that the guy that played that guy, his name is Toby Nague or something like that, but he's a hip hop artist
Oh, I
from
didn't know
Houston.
that. Okay.
Super fucking dope, like
Yeah.
super super dope. And it's interesting to see him like move into acting. For
Hmm.
me, like, it was like I met him during the pandemic. Like him and his wife, like his wife's name is Fats or
Okay.
whatever. But it was like he and his wife did a whole pandemic album
That's cool shit.
because of the fact that they were limited to their resources. But it was like, obviously, you want to get your stuff out.
Yeah.
So it's just dope to see him in different mediums.
Mhm.
But
Interesting.
anyway,
Yeah.
and so Noah agrees to do this job with Tariq or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't
Reek.
remember.
I think. Yeah. Reek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I assume his full name is Tariq. But
Yeah.
he agrees to do this job because he needs money for his mom and his brother and stuff like that. Desperate.
Hmm.
And in the same vein, we meet Elena, who is
Yes.
an intern at the museum, some museum in Brooklyn or the Bronx or some shit like that. I
Hmm.
assume one of them.
Yeah.
Um,
One of them fancy museums in New York. You know, fancy museum stuff.
Not a museum guy. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be super transparent about it. But
Yeah.
we meet Elena. She's an intern at a museum. She's big into history and artifacts and stuff like that. So like, her boss comes in and says that there was certain artifacts that were stolen. They're trying to figure out their authenticity.
Yeah.
And you see her skills where she was just like, well, this one's real, this one's not, just based on like the history of these people and stuff like that. And it was interesting to see like how she feels about no her knowledge of artifacts.
Yeah, which that
Um,
was cool. I agree that was cool. It's right, but like I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired of the trope where like the head museum person doesn't know history, right? Like her boss, right? They made her boss seem like such a
an
dummy.
idiot, yeah.
But I'm like, yo, if she's in her position, she's going to know history and she's going to know all of this stuff. In my
That's
like,
fair.
yeah, I get like, yes, there's plenty of jobs out there in like corporate America and other times where sometimes people get the job because of nepotism, who they know, and they're very bad. Like they're a shit boss that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. But she is like one of the head curators of this museum. She's gonna know what the fuck she's talking about, in my opinion. Like, there's no way you're in that position and not gonna know. I think.
So
But
I agree with you, but I will say is that I think what helped is the fact that it is shifted from it's not modern times, it's in the 90s.
mhm.
So it is very much belittling people like your subordinates type of thing.
Yeah, fair.
But no,
Yeah,
I fully agree.
yeah.
Because it was like at some point, especially in that realm, it was like you don't get there without a certain knowledge of what you're
Without
doing.
knowing what the hell's going on. Exactly. But
Yeah, so it was just like so the cops come to check certain artifacts that got stolen to like what's legitimate, what's fake, and you get Elena walking her boss
through everything.
through the artifacts and letting her know, and it was like I think the big thing, the big thing with that was like her boss taking credit
Yes.
for Elena's understanding of what they're.
Hmm.
But also, Elena finds a certain artifact that has, I think the Maximal insignia on it
Yeah,
with
yeah.
with the thing. So it's just like she gets obsessed with it. It was just like this is not something that's regular. So she looks into it. She tells her boss, and I think the same thing like you were saying. Her boss is like, "Well, I'm gonna need that on my desk by yada yada yada. Like,
Yeah.
how do I look? Because she's going to like some event." And then so we meet our two, protagonists. So it's Elena and Noah.
Mhm.
Elena is working at the museum. She finds this Maximal artifact.
Yeah.
Noah, he's been unsuccessful in his day with trying to treat his brother, trying to get a job. So he takes a job to steal a Porsche 911 from some. I think it was a parking garage where there was a some fundraiser.
Yeah. Well, I think it was even so I want to say real quick with this, and this will be the only time I'll try to make this the only time I say it. But when they're talking about the artifact and the history and all that, she's like, "Oh, it could be oh, I'm blanking on some of the empires and stuff she was talking about.
It was a Nubian.
Yeah,
Nubian
there's
was
Nubian
one.
Empire and Sudan, but she was like, it could be like 5,000 BC, 5,000 BC. So it's like these symbols, maybe they're like Incan or something. Bro, the Incan Empire was 1,000 AD. So you're saying 5,000 BC was the Incan Empire? No. Or so-
And she was literally like, it was like 600 years later, and it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, not even in the same vein. But
Yeah, so that was like, and like for me, that took me out so much because I'm like, because I double checked. Like there are, where's
I
that?
felt you were literally in the theater like, well, actually,
Well, actually, yeah, the Incan Empire could be Incan or Aztec. I'm like, the Incans and Aztecs were like 1,000 to 1,500, right? So AD. So,
I guess I agree with you. It's like, why bring it up if you didn't do your research?
exactly, right? So like, or just, but there are, where I had it on a tab anyway, but I did look up. There are ancient civilizations in Peru and South America that, like, that were like 2,000 or 3,000 BC. Great, just say those. But because no one's heard of them, but like just about everyone's heard of the Incans and the Aztecs, they
Because
throw
who's
that
gonna
out.
Google at the
Yeah,
end of the day?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, and because everyone's
Like
heard.
we talked about earlier, it was like it's one of those things where it's just like I accept whatever information you give me. Like fine.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where so many movies go wrong is because of the fact that it was like at the end of the day, I'm suspending my disbelief. I'm believing whatever you tell me. So anything outside of that, you're an asshole.
Yeah. But yeah, just say another one because I remember I heard that in the theater and I'm like, wait a second, I know the Incans weren't that old, and so I didn't have anyone in my row, so I was like, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
You look like, are you hearing this?
Like, what's going on, guys? Exactly. But yes, that was the thing. I'm like, if you're talking ancient civilizations, just throw out some of the, like, if they say like the Tenochtitlan people versus the Incans, what real difference is that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, we have our two main characters. One down on his luck, trying to get money for his family, and then we have Elena, who is a historian working in a museum. She finds this artifact. It's like a hawked artifact. I think she called it. It was a horror or something like that.
Horse. Oh yeah, horse.
Horse. Yeah.
They were
Which
thought
is
that maybe it was like Egyptian related to horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like she does further research and realizes, oh no, with these symbols, that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to tell us because it's happening in parallel. But so Noah takes a job to steal a Porsche.
Yep.
So he sneaks in, and it was like interesting how he got in, like the thinking on his feet type of thing. But he finally gets to the Porsche. He goes to unlock it, and it locks itself.
Yeah.
And then he unlocks it and locks itself, and he figures out how to get in. And then he at the same time, like I said, that's what I'm trying to tell him in parallel because of the fact that, excuse me, as Noah is stealing the Porsche, Elena has snuck into the lab because she's just an intern. She doesn't have the access, but she stays late to sneak into the lab technician's area to examine the artifact that she found.
Yeah.
And as she's examining it, it breaks, and you see that it is more than just a statue. It is
It's
a
more
key.
than meets the eye.
Yeah, shut up. It's a key, and the key sends out a signal to space that only Cybertronians can see.
Yeah.
So it's like the different factions, whether it's the Maximals, Autobots, Decepticons, Terracons, whatever it is. It's like anybody from Cybertron can see this, but the rest of the world can't. And so Optimus and his group that have been, hiding away on Earth see this, basically this beacon to the sky, and I'm like, holy shit, we didn't. I think that's what was beautiful. Yeah, no, I think it was cool too to see that it was just like Unicron was a myth. It's like a fucking what's his name, the urban legend or something. It's something you tell to scare kids type of thing. So it's like that's what Unicron was. But it was like now that they see that the transwarp key actually exists, and we see it when it goes on. So Optimus, sends a call to the Autobots. He was like, "We need to assemble." And the car that Noah is stealing is Mirage, one of the Autobots. He hears it. We get a dope ass chase scene through the city where it's just like Mirage's thing is. I mean, he's a Mirage, so like, use your imagination. So he uses his powers to escape the cops, and they roll up to the meeting spot of the Autobots. So we meet Bumblebee. What's his name? Optimus Prime, RV, and then Mirage. Those are the four that exist on Earth in 1994. And I think this is what's interesting was you're talking about the fact that it was like it's frustrating because of the fact this is my issue with prequels. It was like, bro, shit exists. So it's just like, don't shit on what already exists. I mean, you can expand on all you want because of the fact that it was like we didn't meet Optimus Prime until 2007, and then Bumblebee comes out, and so it talks about 1990 whatever. But so it's like you have until that year in 2007 to make something. Everything like so, but don't shit on once again, don't shit on what already exists.
Yeah.
You exist in the cloud. You exist in the unknown, but don't. But anyway.
Yeah.
So Optimus gets the Autobots together and was just like, we need to retrieve the key and stuff like that so we can get home, because obviously they retreated to, and I should have at least read up on the Bumblebee movie, which is really good, by the way.
Okay.
I should have read up on the Bumblebee movie to see. From the Bumblebee movie, I remember that they were fighting on Cybertron. Bumblebee gets sent to Earth to make sure it's safe for the rest of them. So I think that it is a not a direct sequel, but a sequel to the Bumblebee movie. I just can't remember the year. So we know, like I said, we know that this movie is in 1994. I assume the Bumblebee movie was 1990. This is a hard guess. But anyway, so they realize like they've been trapped on Earth since 1990, and they've been trying to figure out a way to get home. They thought that the transwarp key was just fiction, and now they know that it is. First of all, it exists and it's on Earth, and so they devise a plan to get it. They realize that Transformers are too big to walk into a museum to retrieve the key. So that's how Noah gets, our human protagonist gets dragged into this. So we're just like, all right, if you get the key for us, Mirage is like, I will, you can sell me to make money so that, your brother can get the help that he needs, your mom can get the help he needs. So it's just like, that's where we're set. But at the same time, the Terracons, led by Scourge, also see the key because he's been, once again, tasked to find the transwarp key for Unicron.
So the question is like, where were they? Right? Like like they were just kind of going throughout the universe, and
I was gonna say it is the universe.
I was gonna say, the universe is pretty big, so they were close enough that when
they were like, "Oh, thank God we were on Saturn."
Yeah, right? Exactly. They were like, "Were you just in our galaxy, our Milky Way? Like, where were you, bro? Like, you could get there that quickly?" Out of curiosity,
I was just tip tapping along. So, they take Noah to the museum, and I think this is where we get a bit of background with what's his name, Optimus, where he's been on Earth. I can't, like I said, I can Google it in the same time, but it was like he's been on Earth for a certain amount of time. He does not trust humans. Yeah, that's why he doesn't want Noah going. But it's the only hope.
Optimus wants to take care of his people. He wants, he feels very bad and all the pressure of leading the Autobots and having to run away from,
I think that was it. They mentioned it in the movie. Where it was just they fled to Earth, but in that fleeing, they weren't able to get back. So the fight is still going without a bunch of them. So I mean, as a leader, I think that is the beauty of it. Once again, the captain goes down with his ship type shit. But it's just either I'll die doing this, or we win. So it's like he feels like he failed, not only his world but his people. Yeah. So he's skeptical about Noah going in. So Mirage takes Noah to the museum. He meets with Elena, and he can't. Once again, he can't explain to her like why he
Yeah. What
needs
the
the
hell's going
key.
on?
But they get interrupted by security, and then right after they get interrupted by security, they get interrupted by Scourge, who has also seen the beacon, because the beacon can only be seen by Cybertronians.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. Humans can't see it, so it was like the Terracons, led by Scourge, they see the beacon. They get to the museum,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to retrieve it.
Yeah. Well, they killed it. So that's the thing. The security guard gets killed, right? Because they're just like Rocket. Like the security guard is like, "What's going on here?" Rocket comes in, bang, that guy dies. Some of the cops earlier, I think, in like the running, when Mirage, like they died. But
Oh yeah.
But if it's cop or security guard, then you're screwed in this movie. As long as you're not them, you're gonna be okay. Don't worry. But anyone that you're gonna die. So yeah, so they come in and they attack, and it's like that's going on right there. Elena and Noah are like running throughout, and then I guess the Autobots and the Terracons start fighting.
Yeah.
That is going on.
And you see that the Autobots are no match for the
They
Terracons
get
because
their
of the fact
asses
that
beat. Yeah, like
because of the fact that if you join with Unicron, he gives you enhanced powers.
Mhm.
So even Optimus was surprised with the fact that it was like he went to go like cut Scourge in half,
Yeah.
and Scourge was like, just too powerful. And he was like, but it was one of those things where like if you pledge allegiance to Unicron, you get enhanced powers.
Yeah. Optimus got his butt kicked in this fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so during the fight, I think Scourge is about to kill Optimus, and Bumblebee sacrifices himself. Bumblebee dies.
Yep.
And then before they can do more damage, I think because Scourge is also taking the insignias of every person he's killed. Like he takes your he takes a trophy.
Yeah.
When he kills you. So before he can kill a Prime, he recognizes Optimus as a Prime. Bumblebee sacrifices himself, and then before he can go to kill Optimus, Air Razor, one of the Maximals, arrives, and they realize, oh shit, we already got what we need. They have the transwarp key, so we don't need to keep fighting, and we can go.
Yeah.
So Scourge and his team leave, and then we get kind of a background on the Maximals, where it's just like. One, Optimus is grieving the death of Bumblebee, but it was just like also we learned that what's her name, Elena, was studying the symbols on the statue where they found the transwarp key, and she's like, oh, we know where the I think this was cool too. It was just like, all right, we meet we meet Air Razor.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, they have the key, but they only have one half.
Yeah.
Because we're not fully stupid.
Yeah.
Like we know that. So they broke the key in half. They split it in two. They put one in a statue and an artifact. They hid another one away.
Yeah.
And even Air Razor didn't know. But luckily, since Elena is historian, and knows her history, she's done the research. She knows where the second half might be.
The historian Elena knows that the 5,000-year-old artifact was from the Incan Empire that was only 1,000 years ago, and somehow it's in Peru is the other one, even though they found this artifact in like Sudan. So just around like two completely different continents, but it's fine. Yeah, research, throw out the words Aztec, Incan. Don't worry about it. But they got to go to Peru.
This is where we got my most frustrating scene, where it was just like. Where the humans insert themselves into the search, where just like Noah was like, well, I'm going, and literally in the back of my mind, I was like, why? What did you do to help? And like, any of it?
Besides just run, I guess you grabbed it, but then it got stolen. But like, why, bro? Yeah, we don't need you.
And so like, yeah, Noah and Elena say that they're going to help both. Now it's the Maximals and the Autobots find the second half.
Yeah.
To make sure that Scourge doesn't get it, because if Scourge gets it, he's going to give it to Unicron, and Unicron is going to just destroy the universe.
Yeah.
And so we get a quick scene where Noah goes home, and his brother gives him this. I feel like I'm gonna call it the miracle speech.
Okay.
Just, we're gonna do this in this podcast. Any speech where like some character rallies the troops, we're gonna call it the miracle speech.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, miracle speed. That works. A meddling
But
kid.
yeah, so his brother gives both him and Mirage the miracle speech, and it's like he says, if my brother dies, I'm gonna come after you.
Mm-hmm.
And it frustrated me because I'm just like,
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
that's the Transformers.
Yeah.
So what the fuck are you about to do? But all right, fine.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I couldn't suspend my disbelief for
Exactly.
that.
He was just being a kid. I guess being a kid doing kid shit, I suppose. But yeah.
But I think you do see and we've talked about this in prior podcasts where it's just like showing friendship or certain relationships between characters without expositing it, right? So it's just like knowing his brother, like they call each other Sonic and Tails over the airwaves or whatever, just like they're very close, they have a certain handshake.
Yeah.
And it was like, I do love that. Where it's just like, don't tell me these characters are close. Show me.
Yeah.
Right? And it's literally just simple. All they had was, I mean, once again, they're brothers, so that's one thing, but it was like they just have a handshake where it was just them. Or it's the fact that Noah's very, like, his life got derailed because of the fact that his brother got sick, and it was like, I don't give a fuck about anything else but this. Once again, there's ways to show camaraderie or loyalty and stuff like that in a character without you walking me through it through exposition.
Yeah.
So I think I did appreciate how they showed the connection between Noah and his brother. But anyway, his brother, gives Mirage the whole, if he dies, I'm coming after you. And I'm just like, bro, you can't even walk down the steps. Anyway. But yeah, so the team flies to Peru, and they realize that the artifact is in Peru at a church, but it's underground. The Autobots can't want to go to it at night because of the fact that there's a festival in Peru. And I think I didn't like it, but I was okay with the fact that them making it make sense that the human beings were a part of this story.
Okay.
So it's just like if we need to get the artifact now, obviously giant robots aren't going to be able to surveil the city to get it. So it's like, let's get our human counterparts to do it. So like they sneak the humans into the church. They do this little puzzle that's very like Uncharted style, like a Tomb Raider type shit.
Yeah.
And they get to the tomb where the artifact is supposed to be, but it's not there anymore, and they're confused. But at the same time, since the Autobots could, recognize the symbol, so could Scourge and his team. And so he sends out a troop to follow the humans. And so when they can't find the artifact, they have to run.
Well, then luckily, Mirage gave Noah like a little gauntlet gun thing that he could use. So he uses that to kill the little, whatever Terracon thing. Yeah, the scout Terracon thing. And then they start running through, and then it's like, oh, I know where they are. Right? Yeah, this is if they pop out. Oh, so
first, like everybody's just running. Right. Yeah. So like the humans are running away from the where they are in the temple, and then the Autobots and the Terracons are fighting, above ground.
Yeah, because
so it was like you get that fight with Optimus because of the fact that since he lost against Scourge, I think it is that I need to beat this man. Like he's defeated me once.
Yeah, well that was the thing too. I'm like, Optimus got his butt kicked. And then he was immediately like, I can handle him. I'm like, wow, how, Sway? Like, you literally just got your ass beat. And
walk me through what you're going to do.
Yeah, like, what are you going to do differently? He's like, I'm going to hit him with my sword. But I'm like, didn't you try that before? And then nothing happened. And then, like, the same fight, he's like, he's so confident. He's like, I can take him. I'm like, how, dude? Like, you just got your ass beat. Like, come on.
So we get a fight between the Autobots and the Terracons. Or the human beings they haven't found the artifact and are running through the jungle. Yeah. I think Scourge loses somehow, like even though he has the upper hand, but
Air-Razor destroys the bridge and they're on opposite sides of the bridge.
That's what what it is. So Air-Razor protects Optimus, And so since Scourge can't get to Optimus, he shoots at Airazor and basically hits her with something that starts to infect her.
Yep.
But we don't
Yeah.
see that until later. So like the human beings, they are escape the underground tunnels of the temple that they were in, and they end up in the jungle. And they meet, and you see this in the trailer, but it was like they meet the rest of the Maximals,
Yeah.
right? Because Airazor was very much they hid the transwarp key and then they separated because there's no way for them to find it. You know, if we're like even she didn't know where the second half was, and so we meet the Maximals and the Autobots in a standoff where it's just like.
And this
Sorry.
part too, it's also funny with what's going on. Well, I guess they're in the standoff, and like they're about to like all go at each other, and then Airazor comes in to like save it. And this is, I thought it was hysterical because I'm like, so because Airazor had been by herself this entire time, and like every other Maximal was just hanging out. Yeah, she was just like, I haven't seen any of them. I don't know if they're still alive. I might be the last of my kind. She gets there, so happy to see them. She's like, wait a second, the four of you have just been hanging out the past like 5,000 years without me?
Well, I feel like yeah, you're right. It's very much like so we all decided we was on chill in Peru.
Yeah, like, why did you not let me know? Hello, guys, it's me, Airazor. Hi.
Once again, suspension of disbelief. We believe it. And so, yeah, we meet the Maximals. We meet Optimus Primal. We meet Optimus Prime, who was named. So Optimus Primal was named after Optimus Prime, the legend of Cybertron.
Because the Maximals are like the past and future of the Autobots.
So what I appreciate is the fact that it was like, so I did a little bit of research. Not a little bit, but I did some research with this, and it was like it's very much one of those things where like the Maximals they were from the past, but they went to the future or some shit like that. But they didn't try to walk you through that on some light year shit. Where it's just like
they're like past and future. Don't worry about it. All right, let's go.
Let's not walk you through the time warp. But anyway, so when the Maximals landed on Earth, they split the key, and they left. One part of the key with a tribe, I assume in Peru.
Yes. Yeah.
You see, so like after everybody calms down, when the Maximals meet the Autobots or whatever, they take them to the tribe that has the second half of the key, and you see an exchange between the tribe and Optimus Primal, and I think this is the turning point from Optimus Prime. Our God. Because of the fact that he's landed on Earth, but they literally have been in hiding since they've gotten there. Like, they don't fuck with the humans because they assume, the humans only look out for themselves. And like earlier on, we got, I think that was the I meant to mention this earlier, but that was a reference to the Bumblebee movie, where like Optimus Prime is just like, I don't trust the humans, and Bumblebee was like, well, there was this one. And then Optimus was like, well, I know you had an exchange with one human being. We're talking about the Bumblebee movie, but it was like, for the most part, humans are going to look out for themselves. And then we also got that when they were on their way to Peru, and I'm so sorry I'm bringing this up later, but it was like when they went on their way to Peru, Noah was like, once we get the key, I'm going to destroy it. Yeah. Because of the fact that we don't want it falling into the wrong hands. That's the only way to deal with this. Yeah. And so, but Optimus is seeing that Optimus Primal has trusted the second half of the key to human beings, and they've kept it safe and stuff like that. It was like they, this tribe, it was off on their own in the mountains of Peru, but it was like they've also kept the secret of the Maximals or whatever. Yeah. And so I think we also got an exchange between Elena and Noah, talking about her dad and how he was like, he came to the U.S., wasn't educated, but was like the smartest man she knew. And the reason why she decided to join the trip was the fact it was just to make her dad proud. It was just like, whatever scares you, whatever scares you builds you up type of thing. And so everybody goes to sleep, they wake up, and Elena wakes up first, and she realizes that fucking Airazor is basically freaking out because of the fact that Scourge has infected her. Yeah, like whatever it's like a virus. It's like basically kind of her brain. And but because he's infected her, they know him and his team, the Terracons, know where they are. So the Terracons attacked. I think it was another dope scene. Like I think my thing was like I love seeing
Hmm.
Transformers fight.
Yeah. Oh,
Everything else is bullshit to me.
So yeah, but the fight scenes themselves are really cool. Everything's going on. Air Razor and Air Razor's kind of going crazy. She even like grabs Elena at one point in
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was the thing. It was just like so. Um, Once the Transformers realized that Scourge and his team are on the way, Optimus Primal gives the second half of the
Oh.
key to Noah and
Hmm.
tells them to run,
Yeah.
right? And the audience knows that Noah just wants to destroy it.
Hmm.
So like he gets to a clearing at some river and he's like, "I'm gonna destroy the key." Optimus Prime comes.
Yeah.
He's like, "Please don't destroy it. We need that to get home."
Hmm.
Because Optimus, I think it is that dichotomy of Optimus Prime trying to get home to protect his world,
Yep.
Noah trying to save his. But I think they didn't do a good enough job of making you care about Noah's motivations.
I kind of agree,
Um,
but it was still like a good point for like the two of them to kind of bond because it was like Optimus Prime is like, I know you're just trying to take care of your world. I know you're trying to do what's right for yours.
well, I think the problem is they had to
Mhm.
talk us through that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
wasn't shown.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So Noah has the second half of the key. He's gonna destroy it. Elena's telling him no. Optimus tells him no,
Yeah.
and he stops himself. But at the same time, Elena is captured by the Terracons.
Yeah. Like Elena
Um,
has the key, and then she gets captured by Air Razor, who then like swoops in, grabs her, and flies
yeah.
off somewhere.
Mhm.
And then they have like,
And so I think this was a really emotional scene where it's just like Optimus Primal has to kill Hellraiser because like
Mhm.
she's fighting the virus that is Scourge,
Yeah.
and she tells him it's okay, just kill me,
Yeah.
type of thing. It's like so he kills her. Like the um the Maximals and the Autobots are obviously devastated at a loss. I mean
Hmm.
they've lost. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I
No,
keep
you're
burping. I apologize,
good.
but it was like they've lost Bumblebee and now
Mhm.
they've lost Air Razor.
Yeah.
And Scourge has both half of the keys. He presents it to Unicron
Hmm.
to put it into a machine that'll bring Unicron to Earth so he can destroy Earth.
Yeah.
And I think what's his name? Optimus Prime was like, devastated, but I think Optimus Prime is just like, I realized, and I think the frustration is just like the whatever lessons you were supposed to learn with this movie, they had to tell you. They didn't
Yeah.
show it.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
so Optimus Prime is just like I realized that I was trying to save my own the same way you were trying to save your own,
Hmm.
but we should have been working together because we had a common enemy.
Yeah.
It was just like I feel like you could have shown that much
Yeah,
to
there
me.
could have been
And
a better way instead of just be like, now he's got to say this so that way we can
yeah,
fucking keep him
so
going.
now all three teams really the humans, the Maximals, the Autobots realize that they have a common enemy.
Hmm.
And it was like if they don't stop Unicron and Scourge, then all of them are doomed because they're trapped on this planet.
Yeah.
And so they realize that Elena has been taking down notes, and the only way to stop the transwarp key from bringing Unicron to this world is to put in an access code. I
Yeah.
apologize.
So like that's cancellation or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah, and
it was
so like
I'm like, okay, cool. Because like they grab the key, a giant spire erupts from the ground randomly. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, whatever, fuck it, yeah, cool movie, yeah, let's do it. Out of
and
nowhere, that was
so now
yeah.
they come up with another plan where we're just like, all right, we need to distract Scourge and his team
Hmm.
so that Elena, the humans. I think it was the thing was like they had to make. This is the first time in a long time when it comes to the Transformers movie where they made the existence of humans and their contributions
Hmm.
make sense.
Yeah, fair.
Because otherwise, it was like, why you here? I did it last night at the bar. It was just like I just threw a straw at you because that's the
That's the equivalent of what it
that's the contribution of the humans in the Transformers movie. You basically you tickled a fucking Decepticon. But
Yeah, like what? Yeah.
anyway, so it's just like the team is split up. They have a plan. We're just like the Maximals and the Autobots are going to draw out the Terracons and Scourge
Hmm.
so that the humans and Elena and Noah can get to the console to put in the access code to stop the transport.
Yeah, there's like a tunnel that only humans are big enough to fit
Yeah.
in through there, and so
Mhm.
like they're gonna go into with the tunnel.
And so like it was. I mean, it was really cool to see like the Maximals and the Autobots. What was the word they used? Do you know it?
Maximize or something like that.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Because yeah, the Maximals who like yeah, I had growing up, I had Beast Wars, Transformers. I remember like yeah, like I had the Optimus Primal one, and like you could like turn him into like more humanoid, like the knight armor and all that. That was interesting. Like the Maximals fought in animal form for like almost all of the movie, and then at the end they go maximize, but then they're only
Yeah.
maximized for a little bit, and they transform right back to like the regular animal form again. I'm like, but why though? But anyway, but
It's
yeah,
called budget, sir.
I
Relax.
suppose yeah. But yeah, so the fight
But
itself.
yeah, so we get them working as a team. Mirage sacrifices himself to save Noah.
Yeah. Well, it's for the
Noah
record.
gets
Mirage goes to like distract Scourge, because like Scourge is still up there doing
yeah
his
yeah
thing. He's letting his like peons fight, which again, cool battle. Mirage is like, I'll distract him, and then Mirage like is getting hammered, but he's doing pretty well because he has like all the illusions and stuff he can do. But at
yeah
one point in time, he gets hit and like his face, and he's looking down in the access tunnel, and he's like, Noah, you gotta hurry up, like just telling Scourge there are humans down there. Like you just keep your mouth shut. What are you thinking?
It's like when we were talking shit about Sebastian from The Little Mermaid. It was just
Yeah.
like he literally just swam away 2 feet and then started talking shit.
Yeah, like, bro. And then Scourge goes and grabs Noah and takes him out. And then
Honestly,
Noah's
no.
like,
What was worse?
Elena,
It was like even Noah was like, "Elena, do
yeah,
it."
Elena, get there. And it's like, why are you telling this man? There's another one under there. Like, come
It's like
on.
we all know the plan. We were there when you came up
You
with
don't
it.
need to tell him. Yeah. So yeah, but either way, Mirage sacrifices himself for Noah, as you said, and like is like,
Yeah, and then Noah kind of gives up. It was just like it's a lost cause. You get Unicron coming into the into our atmosphere or whatever. But then Noah's brother, his nickname was oh no, his name is Chris.
yes.
His nickname is Tails
Hmm.
over the airways. So Tails gives Noah like that motivational speech. It was just like, "You're the strongest person I know." I heard it before. Yada yada. It was like because you don't stop fighting. So
Yeah. Oh, well, also at this point in time too, there was Bumblebee was put on a rock, and they were
oh
like,
yeah
"Oh,
yeah yeah.
we need more spark energy or whatever it is in Transformers for him to come back." And because of the fight, enough got emitted.
Yeah, because of Unicron coming into the
That's what it was.
atmosphere.
Yeah, with Unicron coming in, it got emitted. So then Bumblebee gets revived, and he joins the fight because
Yeah.
with Unicron getting in there, he like puts down a bunch of reinforcements and all like the Scorpion army. Bumblebee comes in, which for the record, like this was my thing like with this fight, and I'm gonna say it again in a second too here, but like all of a sudden the Transformers just decided they wanted to stop getting their asses beat. Like there was no change, there was no training, there was no reason, but I'm like all of a sudden they're like, no, we do know how to fight. Bumblebee comes in and does work, but I'm like, bro, like you just
I think it's one of those things where you got to realize they read the script.
yeah.
Because so many movies were just like, no, nothing happened plot wise. We
Yeah.
just saw the script and the runtime.
In the runtime. So they're like, oh, look, the good guys got to win now, even though they did nothing different than last time. But now they focused a little bit more. But yeah.
But anyway, yeah, let's run through it. So Mirage sacrifices himself for Noah. Noah and Mirage. Sorry. Noah's brother gives him a motivational speech about him being the strongest person he knows. So Noah, doesn't want to quit fighting.
Yeah.
So he merges with Mirage and becomes like a.
A
I
text.
feel like that might be something leaning towards the cartoon movie
Okay.
where. Because I feel like there was a kid, a Witwicky. That was a thing, right? So in the animated movie, there's a kid that also merges or some shit like that, where he's like half Autobot, half human type shit.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
that might be one thing. I did no research. This is off the top of the dome.
Fair. Yeah.
I don't want nobody coming at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they Noah fights off Scourge, and then Optimus comes to help him.
Yeah.
Kills Scourge.
Again, all of
They
a sudden, I was just gonna say, Optimus decided that he could beat Scourge now. I was like,
once again,
yeah.
yeah.
And my big thing with him killing Scourge, I would have rather Optimus Primal killed Scourge personally, because
Yes.
that was the one who had like
Especially after how we met him. But-
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, let Primal be the one to kill Scourge. But then I guess with how bad Optimus got his ass handed to him, he needed to be the one to do it, because otherwise it's like Optimus is just a bitch.
yeah, it was interesting to see Optimus Prime go against Scourge's secondary
Yeah.
to beat him.
Yes.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so Yeah, right as Optimus Prime kills Scourge, Scourge destroys the console
Mm-hmm.
that Elena was working on to put in the access code.
Yeah.
So the only way for them to stop the transfer is for somebody to
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice themselves to destroy the key. And
Yeah.
so Optimus Prime says he's going to sacrifice himself to destroy the key. And it was like, this is what pissed me off about prequels. It was just
Yeah.
like, bro, I know you're in the second one.
Yeah. I know
This
you.
means nothing to me,
Yeah.
like at all. It means
Yeah.
nada.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the everybody else except for Optimus Prime runs away because they know that if the key is destroyed, it's going to there's going to be an explosion that kills everything in its radius. So that
Yes.
everybody needs to run.
Which didn't happen. That did not happen.
So Optimus destroys the key. It
Yeah.
shuts down the bridge, bringing Unicron to this world.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't get exploded. He just gets pushed back because that's what happens.
Instead of a giant explosion, the portal closes, or everything gets sucked into space, and the portal closes because you're like, we need to clean up.
And then so like as Optimus is being sucked into the portal, the basically the black hole that is space.
Yeah.
You see Noah hold him,
Yeah.
but Noah can't hold him. So Optimus Primal comes in, and the rest of the team basically work together to pull Optimus back.
Mm-hmm.
They've defeated Unicron.
Yep.
They save the world. The Autobots go back to the United States. The Maximals stay in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the final scene where what's his name? Noah. It goes on another job interview. Like no, so he meets up with his family.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then he goes on another job interview for another security position. And you see that what's her name? Elena has basically published her findings about the underground temple that they found in Peru.
She sold out the Maximals. Yep.
Yeah, so
she sold out the Maximals.
so she's famous. Noah gets he's back to his regular life. He gets an opportunity for a job, and the interviewer is talking to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings up I think he brings up Peru.
Yeah. He knows.
And Noah's like, how you know about that? And we know about all of it. And he was just saying that we're a very private government organization. We only bring in a certain amount of people. And being the fact that you've experienced, you had experience with the Autobots and basically aliens, we want to bring you in. And Noah's a little bit hesitant, but they're like, we're gonna take care of you. We know about your brother. He's gonna get the best treatment and stuff like that. He was like, I mean, you saved the world. That's the least we can do. Which is very interesting because of the fact that like half of the third Transformers movie was the fact that Sam couldn't get a job because he couldn't tell the government about what he did.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, but whatever. Yeah.
So Noah is a little bit hesitant to take the job because he's keeping it hush hush on what he did in Peru, and then like the guy who's interviewing him hits a certain portrait on the wall behind him, and it opens up. He gives him a business card, and then the wall opens up, and you see the there's a hangar or whatever, and he looks at the business card and it says Sergeant something. And then it says G.I. Joe. So I think it's expanding the world to the rest of Hasbro, basically.
Yeah.
And
So
that's how
G.I. Joe's fighting Transformers. Yeah. Yeah. That's the movie. And there's a quick mid-credit scene where like Mirage, he like fixes up Mirage. Mirage is gone.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. I couldn't remember that. Yeah, you're right. So like the guy that what's his name? Noah did the robbery with. Got all of Mirage's parts transferred back to New York so that Noah could put Mirage back together. You're right.
Yeah. And why they showed Reek that he was a giant robot alien, I don't know why, but he did. So whatever.
I think. Go on. We can wrap this up.
Yeah, whatever. But that is the movie. So what we always like to do at the end of our podcast is just do a quick review, or go back to our reviews. So Mike and I both gave it a 2.5 out of 5 before talking about the movie. Mike, what do you give it now? Is it the same? Different? What do you think?
Honestly, so it's funny because I was at a 3 before you went.
Okay.
And then I moved it down to 2.5. But it was like no, 2.5 is exactly where it is. and we talked about this earlier. It was like I had very high expectations for this because the Maximal
Mhm.
was my introduction to Transformers.
Yeah.
But no, I was kind of very disappointed. I didn't like what they I didn't like the story that they were telling. I think they leaned
Mm.
too much into the human characters, and it was like, which is crazy because of the fact that they only had two, right?
Hmm.
But even with that, it was just like it was just too much. Like I don't give a fuck about them. I want to see fucking Transformers transform, like do their
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Yeah.
and also, I think it was frustrating too is the fact that it was like because it is a prequel, you need to tiptoe around what already exists. Like
Hmm.
you don't want to step on anything that already exists in this franchise. But even with that they did it type of thing.
Yeah.
But no, I think 2.5. I think it was cool for the Cybertron shit, but outside of that, it was a bit of a disappointment for me, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
I'm sticking with the 2.5 as well because I mean there was some good scenes. The CGI was good. The fights were cool, but from a story perspective, yeah. Will I see it again? Honestly, probably not. Like,
No,
yeah, I
no.
don't know. But yeah, so 2.5. But again, thank you so much for listening, everyone. If you would like to reach out to us, you can find us at two meddling kids on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, how can they find you?
Days from Legendary on Instagram.
Excellent. And if you'd like to reach out to me, I am at EdHunt77 on Twitter and Instagram. And I also have an Instagram for my comics that I'm writing at hunt.comics on Instagram. Currently, again, I have that Kickstarter campaign going for issue 1 of Evil as a Weapon Chainsaw Wars. That's probably going to be like a 10-issue run. I have a bunch of other comics I want to write too, and I'm going to steadily be just massing that out as best I can. But either way, we will see you next week with a new movie review. See you soon.
Bye.